And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Pug Thompson. 100% and on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
We're going to give you guys a little nugget today for Super Bowl Sunday. So we're going to mainly talk fights, but we are going to give our 2 cents on the Super Bowl, I think, later on. And, I'm just going to simply just say Chiefs all the way, baby.
Look at you, man. I would say you're a homer, but you live in the Bay Area and you're going with the Chiefs. I know you're a Chiefs fan.
No, I'm a Chiefs fan. All right, so let's kick this off real quick with Kamaru Usman. Usman and Masvidal.
God damn.
Dana's confirming that this will be for the title. What did he say? Like in May or something?
Did we not say that it was going to be that fight?
Yeah, I kind of was leaning. I was leaning. Yeah, after all the altercation. Yes, I was still up until the altercation. I was leaning towards Conor and Masvidal. I was leaning towards that. I really believe they're gonna run Nate and Conor again.
Yeah, I kind of think so.
I kind of think they're going to run Nate and Conor for the third time, make that money fight. Conor has a good chance of winning. Conor also has a chance of losing. But at 170, which I think their first 2 fights were at 170 also.
Yep, both of them.
But Conor now I think he's had plenty of time to become a real 170-pounder. Not so much like an Usman or, those guys. But he's probably walking around about 80. Somewhere in there,
I doubt it.
No, you doubt it? 70, 75? No?
Yeah, I would say no more than 75. Yeah. He's just doesn't have that big a frame, and he's got, a lot of muscle on him and stuff. He's got big legs and stuff, but I just don't see him walking around in that 180 range.
Yeah, I just think that we saw a little bit with the Cowboy thing. He was able to, I think he felt comfortable with that weight. And if what's his name? His coach's name, John Kavanaugh. Okay. If Kavanaugh is not lying, which I don't think he is, he's saying like he's been dominant in the gym, performing really well in the gym, looks and feels really good. I could see him walking through Nate also. If that's the case. I think he had fought at 55 for so much and then just tried to fight at 70. And I think Nate is just physically a really big guy. And Nate's used to dealing with, with guys that have power, used to dealing with guys that that come after you, and try to get you out of there. Nate can deal with it all. But I'd like to see them do that fight, because then we'll get a better idea of how good Conor is at 170. Now that he's put on this muscle and this weight, and he's been carrying it around a little bit longer, he's been able to get through a whole training camp with it, and physically says he feels wonderful. And now it's just something for him to build on. Run the Nate fight back again, or maybe even have him fight Nick if Nick is going to come back. I hope he doesn't, but there is talks of him saying that he's going to come back. I would love to see him fight Nick, Nick or Nate, both of those guys. Let him get that fight, and then he maybe potentially could fight the winner of Usman and Masvidal. I really think, I feel like every time I say this, every time I've been talking about Usman, excuse me, I've ruled against him, and he's proven me wrong. I think every time I
keep going with it, man. He keeps on making me look good.
Yeah.
He's good.
I know I'm not saying he's not good. I have a ton of respect for him. I really like the guy. Like, we saw him at Mohegan, I think last year sometime, right before he fought T. Wood, or right after he fought. I think it was before he fought T. Wood. So maybe close to 2 years ago.
Just think about
he's
that
good,
fight.
Man.
Just think about that fight, though. That fight with Woodley.
Yeah, he just dominated it.
He dismantled Woodley.
Yeah.
T. Wood can wrestle. T. Wood is athletic. T. Wood is fast. And he just dominated him. Yeah. Anywhere he wanted the fight to be, it was. Anything he wanted to happen, it happened. He just made T. Wood look bad. And that's not easy to do, because Woodley's good, man. He's a stud.
Yeah, I think that T. Wood fights in spurts. And Usman didn't fight in spurts that fight. He fought, got the takedown, dominated the position, and T. Wood just didn't have enough spurts. Now, I also go back to sometimes when guys have been a champion for a long time, you kind of see them get a little bit complacent. You know, like, oh, none of these guys can beat me. Now they just got to work their way back, and sometimes they come back to the title, sometimes they don't. I mean, we saw it with GSP, a little bit complacent with the Matt Serra fight. You know, other things on his mind. Just, you know,
that was a lot of other things.
But they let the outside world creep in.
Yeah, but that, normally you're going to that. GSP had just won the title. He won the title at UFC 65 against Matt Hughes.
Yeah.
He lost it to Matt Serra at UFC 69.
So that was his first title defense?
First title defense.
Oh, wow. I thought he had one or two in between there.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. So when you sit there, you go,
this is why.
I don't think he got complacent. It was everything that was happening in his life. It was all the pressures of being the champion and everyone coming in, and then management, and he wasn't getting along with them, and they were doing things that he was upset with, and bad things happen.
God, this is why we work so well together. You can say things like that, because I thought it was like, I thought he had one or two fights in between, then he just got comfortable. Like, okay, look, this is how it's gonna be. You know, because you could see from the first time he fought Matt Hughes to the second time he fought Matt Hughes, he was a completely different fighter.
Oh yeah,
confidence level was through the roof, and I thought,
exactly,
you know,
no confidence in one,
and
confidence just at its peak, in the second one,
Okay, so to go back to Usman, because we got off track, of course we did. Usman and Masvidal. Can Masvidal keep it standing, and can Usman take his shots?
Man, I'll tell you what, I look at what Usman did in the Colby Covington fight, and I was really impressed that he was so confident in his stand-up that he didn't even try for the takedowns.
Yeah.
And that, to me, leads to the point of he's becoming more and more comfortable in that position. But I would always say you never fight another man's fight. And if you're gonna face Jorge Masvidal, you're gonna say that, look, he's a stand-up guy. He's a guy that wants to be on his feet, and he lands beautiful combinations. He's not a one-punch knockout artist. He breaks you down with combinations and then can land the one shot that can put you away. Mm-hmm. But it's his ability to break you down with landing all of these beautiful shots that he goes up and down with. I think that Usman needs to take Jorge Masvidal down to win that fight. I think he's got to take him off his feet. He's got to rough him up on the ground. He's got to slow down what George does, and he's got a very good chance of winning that fight. You know, I would say he's the favorite going in. But Masvidal has all the experience and tools necessary to win that fight also. And that's what makes it, an intriguing fight, is both guys are so good at what they do, but Usman's wrestling is good. Now, I know Masvidal's wrestling defense is outstanding.
Yeah.
It is. But it's the way you come into him or allow him to come into you. Same as you counterpunch, you counter wrestle. You allow a guy to take those shots and come in with his attack, and instead of just, defending, I'm going to move myself and drop levels and come into him and use his energy coming forward to try to do damage. That's the time to try to take Masvidal down, because when your hands are coming through, you don't have the ability to get those underhooks, and anybody can be taken down. I don't care how good a wrestler you are. Anybody can be taken down in MMA given the right situation and circumstances. So Usman has all the ability to take Masvidal down. He's just got to work at the timing and when he's going to shoot that attack into him. He does that, he can get him down and get him down without burning a lot of energy. I honestly look at, Usman, there's something special about a guy that he carries that big of a frame, that much muscle, but he really doesn't, he doesn't slow down much. Even you can take a look when he was doing the grappling with Woodley. I mean, it was impressive how much he was doing in certain aspects of that fight, and then getting back to his feet and taking him right down again. That shows that his, cardio is just incredible as far as he can continue to push a pace on somebody that can push that person to the point where they're exhausted and he can still go. And anybody that's going to stand, fight with Colby Covington, he brings a pace. And I'm not saying Colby was getting tired in that fight. I'm not saying Usman was. I thought they were both incredible. Mm-hmm. So it's a great fight, and that's That's the kind of fight you want to see.
No, I think so as well. He's gonna have a hard time holding him down though. You know, there was moments in the fight when T Wood lost a takedown. He just kind of like succumbed to just being on his back. Like, okay, this is where I'm gonna be. I think Masvidal has spent his whole career with people trying to take him down, and so his main focus has been on him trying to get back up. And I think he probably is gonna be a lot harder to hold down than I think T Wood was. He probably will be as equally, if not a little easier, maybe to take down though. But he'll be able to get up, which makes the fighter work a little bit harder every time. Once you get the takedown and you're able to dominate the top position for a while, the person on bottom is a deflated fighter versus the person who was on top doing the work, doing the damage. And that person on bottom was carrying your weight, whereas the person on top is really just floating. You know, you're not really expending a lot of energy except for when you're putting in the work to try to get them out of there. With the ground and pound, I mean, sure, you're putting work and positioning and all those things, but you're not having to carry someone else's weight. And I feel like that plays such a factor. Now, if he takes Masvidal down against the cage, I think Masvidal is able to hop back up to his feet. I mean, we saw it in the Damian Maia fight. I mean, Masvidal was able to get up a couple times with someone like him. And that's just a different level of like being able to get up. Once someone like Damian Maia gets you down, like very rarely do people get up. You know, just position wise. And if they do get up, it's usually when he's helping them up after he's tapped them. So it's that position. It's true though. It's like that positioning of someone like Damian Maia had a hard time with him, and Masvidal was able to get back up to his feet. So I think if Usman, once somebody gets up, the pressure becomes on them. It's like someone talking to you the whole time. And I'm sure George probably will talk to him in the cage as well. It adds more pressure. Like, shit, if I don't hold him down, you know, this guy's so relaxed. He's talking shit. He's going to knock me out. Like, I mean, there's things that go through fighters' minds while you're fighting. And that adds to more stress, especially when you can't hold someone down. And that was your game plan. Your game plan was to take them down and do work on them, you know, from the top position down. And if that doesn't happen and you have to make that call that audible, it stresses you out a little bit more, and it starts to get to your nerves, and then it also starts to make you gas a little bit sooner. And I continue to say that Usman is one of those guys that tends to slow down as the fight goes on. But honestly, his T Wood fight, and don't shake your head, no.
Yeah, come on,
his
man.
His T Wood fight and his fight with Colby Covington shut me the hell up, man.
Okay,
I mean,
there you go. Little, that's what I like. That's what I like. A little, little humility there and saying I was wrong. I know those words.
I didn't quite
like
go that
glue
far.
Coming out of your mouth.
I didn't quite go that far. No, but yeah, I was wrong. All right, I was wrong. No, I was wrong. Like he had put on a great performance. Dominant performance, and I gotta quit like kind of going against him. I really thought Colby was gonna push the pace to the point where Usman was gonna be able to keep it going, but I also thought there'd be a lot more wrestling in that fight, you know. And I think that's kind of where Colby made his mistake. He should have tried to wrestle him a little bit more. And you know, I mean, Usman's built like a Greek god, man. And I think anytime you have a guy that has that amount of muscle, you've got to make them wrestle. You got to make them put the work out. And sure, he's comfortable in those wrestling positions, but he's also not comfortable in having to defend or having to get the takedown. And then when he doesn't get it, out of the break, taking shots. What fight was it that we saw? It was it was the Chris Cyborg fight. Every time Julia Budd went to the clinch, we were like, okay, look, this is where she needs to be. Have her press against the fence. But every time Cyborg broke out of the clinch, what did she do? She made her pay on the break, whether it was a punch or a kick or a knee, made her pay. And that makes them a little bit more cautious to engage with them, because then it's forcing them, even when they do engage, it's forcing them to want to hold on to it even tighter, because they don't want to, out of the break, catch a punch or a kick or anything. And I feel that if Usman struggles to get him down, and Masvidal can make him pay every time out of the clinch. Like as soon as they get ready to break, body kick. As soon as they make a break, boom, punch. I mean, anything along those lines, knees, anything in that area, he's gonna cause some problems for Usman. I'm not quite going against him yet. I think I'm gonna get closer to the fight. I am a little bit of a homer when it comes to.
You're going Masvidal.
I'm a little bit of a homer going to Masvidal, only because he has come into his own. The history of Strikeforce and training with, you know, and I was scheduled to fight him a couple times, and the fight fell through. But you know, I just remember the history of. I think that calf kick is going to be huge. That'll slow down the takedowns as well. And so at least the takedown attempts make it a little bit harder for him to drive into the body, press him against the fence if you can't put any weight on that leg. And so there's a lot of things that I think Masvidal has the experience and the tools to do to Usman. But, Usman's proven me wrong the last 2 fights for sure. I had him winning a couple of the other fights that he was scheduled in. But the last 2, I thought for sure, Woodley's going to stuff his takedown, and Woodley's too fast on the feet. Woodley throws straight combinations. I mean, he's gonna kind of do what he did to like Koscheck. I thought kind of that filled, like I'm gonna stuff your takedown, circle off, and land some clean shots, and out of the break, I'm gonna knock you out with the speed and the power. That shit didn't happen. that shit did not happen.
That was another fight.
Yeah, I was just like, man, what? I was like, where did this guy come from? And then I was like, oh, Colby's gonna press the pace and wrestle him and fucking make him work, fill up his muscles with blood. It's just gonna be heavy armed. He won't be able to do anything. Won't be able to strike. He's gonna get taken down, and once he gets taken down, it's all over. Nope, that didn't happen either. So, I mean, I got a lot of respect. I mean, look, I think the credit goes to. I don't like to give this guy a lot of credit because I'm friends with him and he's got kind of a big head. But a lot of it goes to, I think, Ali, his manager, because this guy honestly has put together a team of guys that all have something in common. They all want to be world champion. They all want to take it to the next level. They're all willing to do whatever it takes to get there. Like, these guys never stop training. I train with the Russians. They never stop training. They go to the park. They don't need high-end equipment. They're out there doing pull-ups and sit-ups and I feel like Usman's one of those guys. You see them all together. You see Gastelum. You see Usman. You see Frankie Edgar. Like I've known Ali since he like first started, kind of was first helping out with Frankie, and then now he's blown up to be a pretty big known manager, And he seems like he's gathered all of his guys to like each other. And you saw Usman talk about it recently, about how he's like, no, I would never fight Khabib. He's like, he's my brother, this and that, and he's like, I would never fight him. And I think that's smart for Usman also, because I would pick Khabib. But it was, but
I don't know.
But it's a good, but I think, like, I understand Ali has this thing with his guys, and I think it's very smart. He's got a lot of good guys. Henry Cejudo, he's got Frankie, he's got Khabib, he's got Islam, he's got all these other top guys. Gastelum is just fucking an animal, man. He's just an animal. He's in the wrong weight class, but he's an animal. And he's still hella good at 185. Still fucking one of the top 3.
He's in the wrong way.
I think he is, only because he's so small. Like, guys like, I know I'm using Izzy as an example, but Izzy's long, tall, and I get it. But
yeah, but think about that fight. Think about Izzy against.
Yeah, it was a great fight. It
was the fight of the year.
Great fight.
Was the best fight of the year. Those guys went after it. You tell me who else has put Izzy in the position that you're going to lose? Nobody.
Yeah. I don't know yet. I haven't seen.
Nobody.
Yeah, no one yet, huh? I mean,
yet.
Romero has a good chance of doing it.
Yeah, we'll
Romero,
see.
and I want to see how well Darren Till continues to go. I mean, his ability to pick Gastelum apart. I was like, ooh, this is good. You're way better at 180. And I didn't realize how big Darren Till was until I saw him next to Gastelum. I was like, dude, Gastelum looks like a little kid. This is not even. This is weird. You just fought Izzy and you had a fucking war with him. I was like, Anyways, I
think the pressure in the Usman Masvidal fight, though, I think the pressure's on Masvidal. I think for a guy, and you take a look at his career and you take a look at everything that he's been through, all the different organizations he's fought for, all the times he's had one title fight.
Yeah.
One. In a major. That was in Strikeforce against Gilbert.
Yeah.
He got a title fight at 155. This is his chance. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. Now, he's great at dealing with pressure, so I understand that. It's just that Usman he's a different beast. Now, Masvidal can get rid of him. He could. There's no doubt. But he's going to be fighting the best guy he's ever fought. Usman is the best guy that Masvidal has ever fought.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he's not. I just think that every round the fight starts on the feet. And
it does.
And as the fight goes on, I think it's going to be a lot harder for him to get George down. George's going to have to be in some fucking phenomenal shape. And I've also seen George kind of slow down also in the 4th and 5th round.
Oh, I've seen George does slow down.
But he's also, like I continue to say, he's got dogs, man. He's got them dogs in them hands.
Oh, he does.
And I mean, if one of them things takes a bite out of your chin, it's over. And we saw it, with some of his past fights. Maybe I am being too much of a homer with the Masvidal thing, but for me, I feel like I disagree. I disagree that the weight is on his shoulders. I think it's more on Usman, because Usman kind of started engaging in this trash talking thing with him. Usman is the champion. Usman needs to. I don't think he doesn't need to prove anything. He proved enough with the Colby fight and how he dismantled T. Wood.
How much trash talking was in the Colby fight?
Well, I mean,
a ton.
Yeah, but was it from him though? I don't think it was a lot from him.
Are you kidding? The back and forth and stuff, and didn't bother him at all.
No,
he's there's guys that are good with trash talk, and there's guys that are okay, and there's guys that are bad with it. And he handles it very well. Because when you step in the cage and you're standing across from that person, it doesn't matter. You get to punch them in the mouth; they get to try to punch you in the mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, I think also too, like this may go back to the Ali thing. Like Ali is one of the biggest trash talkers I know, in a friendly way for me anyways, not for the rest of you guys out there, because he talks hella shit to all you guys. But he talks shit at the gym, like when he comes and trains with Khabib and those guys. And it's fun. But I think that goes back to, he probably gets his fighters together and they all roll together, train together, him and Khabib and Usman and and all the and Gaslam and those guys, and they all know each other. They all know, and I'm sure there's trash talking going on in there as well. I think it helps prepare them for like the top level of guys, not just in trash talking, but the top level of guys of fighting. Like I said, I don't want to give him too much credit. I like you, Ali, but I'm just gotta stop, patting you on the back, buddy.
Yeah,
but I think he's doing a good. I think he's doing a good job as a manager. I feel like he has found his niche. And the guys that he represents, they all seem like they're very classy. They all handle themselves with respect and very classy. Sometimes unlike Ali, but that's what you have a manager for, man. That's what you have a manager for.
Your manager gets in the fights in the audience for you.
Yeah, it's for him to do all the work, bro. But look, bottom line is he's doing a fantastic job with his group of guys, and his group of guys right now are all champions. So you can't knock him. I think it's a great job, and I'm excited for that fight. That fight to me has the potential to be fight of the year. It depends on whether Masvidal can keep it on the feet and land some kicks. I honestly believe that calf kick needs to start off early and often to slow him down right away. I mean, we've seen it only takes one or two kicks and the fight, the fight could change. That fighter now is the different fighter because he can't put weight on that foot anymore. So it takes away all the striking as well as the ability to shoot a double leg or a single leg.
Well, one of the things that I was really impressed with George's fight against Nate Diaz. Nate is that come forward pressure guy, and George stopped him. It's not that he backed Nate off, but he stopped him, and they just met, and they changed positions, but there wasn't a whole lot of Nate chasing George down, and only when George wanted to create space for a situation just to reset, he would do that. But Usman is also that go forward guy. So it's going to be interesting to see, does George stop him in his movement, or does he actually start to circle out and give space in not trying to create that pressure that can allow Usman to come into him and get that takedown?
Well, the difference between the two is that Nate is not physically a strong person. And you could tell,
not even close to Usman.
You could tell right from the beginning that George was the stronger fighter and was faster and had more power. Like from those kicks, you could just see it pushed Nate back right away. So, and as the fight carried on, he was just taking
kicks to the body would have dropped me.
Yeah. Very true. Same here.
Damn.
But then you take someone like Usman, he may not walk through them, but he's gonna let you know that it didn't bother him. For a kick or two. I mean, you don't want to take too many of them, obviously. But my point is going back to the calf kick. The calf kick is one of those things you just don't just walk through.
You say that 3 times fast.
Yeah, really fast. So it's one of those things you don't walk through because after two, sometimes one or two, it changes the dynamic of how you approach the fight. Sometimes guys start switching their stance, then they're shooting with the other foot. They're not able to throw power because they're not used to fighting southpaw or conventional when they have to switch their stance. So it changes the dynamic of the fight, especially in a 5-round fight. I'd get to work on that calf early and often. as fast as I could. And if you take a look at Usman, he's got so much muscle, but he's got extremely athletic. It looks like extremely athletic legs, and that's just my way of saying like skinny legs, But but I don't know how many he could take. I don't know how often he could take them. And
we're gonna find out.
Yeah, and I'm pumped for this fight. I'm pumped for. Do they give a date for it? Do you know? International Fight July. International Fight Week. Yeah, International Fight Week. Yeah. Is that?
I think it's like the 13th or something like that.
Why do they call it that now? That there's like no companies there except for Reebok and I think Monster. Why don't they just call it the Monster Reebok Fight Week? I don't get it.
Because it's internet. Well, it's International Fight Week. I don't know. It's a good name.
Call it like UFC Reebok Week or something like that. They shouldn't even call it.
It should be UFC Fight Week because it's UFC's Fight Week, man. It's they should call it the Summer Slam or something. I don't know. I guess you can't. That's probably trademarked by WWE. I'm sorry.
Maybe. No, who watches that garbage anyways?
Your boy DC.
Yeah, that's little kids.
He loves that crap.
Little kids watch it. You know what's even worse?
Your boy Bobby Lashley competes in it?
Some little kids even get
Jake
like
Hager?
they get the fake belts and stuff. Like it's like they carry it around their house like they're people. Like,
you put that belt on your shoulder, you feel good for the day. Come on, man.
Jesus, man. Every morning, podcast Dave gets up, throws it over his shoulder and walks around his house like he's the man. And then his wife wakes up and comes outside and she's like, "Okay, put that shit away." She's
you're talking about this stuff, so I got to bring it up. It just had Jake Paul just fought some, I can't even say the dude's name, in boxing. Yeah. Got a one round knockout win or TKO win, whatever you want to call it. And his brother Logan, who had his boxing against KSI, sold out the Staples Center, sold it out in a day for his boxing match. Actually had championship fights on the undercard, well, underneath him in the co-main. And he's been talking to our boss, Scott Coker.
Yes.
He wants to come to Bellator. He wants to fight MMA. What's your take? Okay, you don't have to say a thing. That's good. Good answer, Josh.
Look, I think it's up to it's obviously not our call. Like you look at us, it's not our call.
If you're gonna say it's up to Scott Coker,
yeah,
that's really good, Josh.
Yeah. I mean,
very astute opinion right there, man. I don't know how you called it like that, but I think you're right. Way to go.
Well, I'm gonna pull Ariel Helwani, and I'm gonna toe the company line and say how great of a person Logan Paul is. I'm gonna say how great he is for the company. Super nice to me. He said hi to me one time in the hallway, and so we're actually really good friends now. Yeah. And I'm really upset that the MMA community has not supported this guy. And
why wouldn't they be inclusive and bring him in? The more people coming in would be better.
It would be wonderful.
Come on.
Yeah. I think the MMA community owes Logan Paul an apology. And
there you go.
Yeah, and
I like that.
And
for doubting.
Yeah, for doubting his skills and his abilities to compete to compete at the MMA level. I mean, anyways, look. Bottom line is, it really is not my call. It's Scott Coker's call.
No shit, it's not your call.
Look, if the kid wants to, it could be a project. It could be a project no different than how CM Punk was a project for the UFC. I don't know, and how some of the other guys were projects that worked out, and some of the guys that were projects that didn't work out. We talked a little bit off before we started. This was Sage Northcutt was a project, but didn't work out. And then you had CM Punk, who was a project.
Sage Northcutt is a lifetime martial artist.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it was still a project though. It was still a project.
Sure, absolutely.
Flashy. Looked good, but wasn't an MMA guy, so it was still a project. Stephen Thompson was a project, I believe, and then it worked out. It definitely worked out. It definitely worked out. The kid's amazing, dedicated to the craft. Brock Lesnar. You could say it worked out. You could say it didn't work out, but you became a UFC champion in the heavyweight division, even though when it was the weakest division there was at the time. But it worked out. It worked. I mean, it just put fans in the stands, and they sold millions of pay-per-views. It worked out. To me, that's a workout.
Oh no, it worked out. Come on.
And here, let's just say
that worked out huge.
Let's say Logan Paul comes and and he is on the card, and he sells tickets and he sells pay-per-views. Then I call it a workout. It works out. I mean, no different than how, what's his name?
I call it a workout.
Greg Hardy right now. Greg Hardy right now is the guy that everyone's, I mean, like you would point the finger to. Like right now it's a project that they're in the works with, Yeah. But I got to tell you, he's performing pretty well. I mean, his last fight, he had a tough go, but it was still a good fight. He showed in the fight before that.
He's
showing improvements. He's showing skills, improvement.
And he's an athlete.
Yeah, he's a really good athlete.
Jake Hager is the same thing.
Yeah, you can say Jake Hager, but Jake Hager's a product as well. It's like, and he's showing a little bit of growth. He's just a mountain of a man, dude. That guy is huge. So what is he, 6? He's like 6'7", 6'8". I mean, just enormous. Anyways, look, I'll judge it based off of.
I like dogs.
Yeah, I like dogs. We got to tell you that. I think we told that story. That was a funny story.
We did.
I think that we will judge it based off of what he sells and not how he fights, and that always bothers me. But it's a business, man.
Why?
It's a business.
Why is it that fighting is the one sport, be it MMA or boxing, where first off, it's like every fighter wants to be an actor and every actor wants to be a fighter? I don't get that. But
not me.
It's kind of true. But why is it that no one allows a guy to come and from the YouTube world and, all right, we're going to put you on the court in the NBA? No, that ain't going to happen. Okay, or we're going to well, you know what? We'll make you a flanker on the Patriots. Nope, that ain't going to happen. But you can go and you can fight a professional fight in mixed martial arts or boxing. And I will be honest, when he was going to fight KSI as a professional, because he had the amateur fight against him, and it was in England, and my friend Jack Reese was asked to be the referee for that fight, and I told him, I said, do it, right? And I said, take the assignment. And he says, no, these guys aren't boxing. They're not even real boxers. I said, it's good for boxing. And I told him that. I said, hey, it's good for boxing. It's going to bring eyes to the world of boxing because you're going to have all those people. I said, the damn thing sold out in a day.
It's a next level tough man. That's what it is. Next level tough man. YouTube stars, next level tough man. That's what it is.
Yeah. It is. But it's a matter of you look and you go, I agree. It's not going to be a good fight. I knew that, when he fought, the boxing, it's not going to be a good fight. But people are interested in it, and that brings eyes to the sport. So is that good or bad? It's like you bring up, Brock Lesnar, Jake Hager had verifiable credentials in the wrestling world, in real wrestling, as far as amateur wrestling, not in professional wrestling. Brock Lesnar was an NCAA champion. Jake Hager is a guy that wrestled at Oklahoma, had 30 wins in the year. I mean, both of these guys proved themselves in what we consider a very important element of mixed martial arts, and that's the world of amateur wrestling. So you look at them and you go, you know what? Yeah, they were they're projects. Jake's a project right now. Brock was kind of a project, and the UFC threw him in the deep waters, and he swam. He lost his first one against Mir, but man, you look and James Toney came in, and that's a guy, world champion boxer. Did he belong in the cage with Randy Couture?
No.
But did Conor McGregor belong in the ring with Floyd Mayweather?
No.
Okay. But what did the biggest numbers? People want to see those things. And so I look at this with, I totally understand why Scott Coker is meeting with him. And if they put it together, I understand, because as a promoter, it's about how many butts in the seats can you put, and how many eyes are you going to put on my product. And if that's the guy that's going to put eyes on your product, I understand why, they look and say, yeah, we'll give you a fight.
Yeah, no,
makes sense.
We go back in history, look at all the kind of sideshows that made Pride so popular. Those little freak show fights is what made Pride so popular. What? We get to watch Hoist Gracie fight this 700-pound sumo guy? Fuck yeah. Like it was just there was fights like that, you know. I mean, what was that
I know,
big
I
guy?
did it.
Fedor with Fedor with Hungman Choi, right?
Exactly.
You know, like there was fights
They
like
love
that.
those.
Bob Sapp and Nogueira. I mean, fucking who can forget the power bomb that he put him in?
Takashi versus Emmanuel Yarbrough.
There you go. I mean, like you
You
have.
know, one of the most popular fights in the UFC in the early days was Keith Hackney when he fought Manny Yarbrough.
Nah.
You know, and he slapped him and knocked him
Yeah.
over. But one of the best-selling shows they ever did, as far as pay-per-view numbers, was when the trouble started. You know, they had David versus Goliath at UFC 8, and you had all these big guys against small guys. You had Scott Ferrozzo against Jerry Bolander, and you know Gary Goodrich fought Paul Herrera, and Paul Varlins fought Joe Moreira.
Paul
and just
Varlins. He's from
all
San
the
Jose.
Polar Bear.
Yeah, he played
Polar
football.
Bear.
He played football here, I think, at San Jose
Yes,
State.
he
Yeah.
did. He played football
Big
at San Jose
boy.
State. But
Big boy.
you know, that was a big freaking selling thing. And you know, Don Fry, that was the first time that he was seen in the UFC. But people, for whatever reason, they kind of like that circus freak show affair.
Yeah.
And they're drawn in by it.
Well, there are some cases where I can point out one is that new kicker for the Dallas Cowboys. He was never a kicker in any other league. He was like one of those show kickers on YouTube, and they called him up and said, "Hey, come out here and give us a try, you know, and see if you want to be our field goal kicker." And he went out there and pressed, and he would like kind of kick behind his back, or he would kick from an angle, like little things that he would do, you know. But then they ended up giving him a job. So he was a kicker through the playoffs or whatever.
The only reason they're going to give him a job is he's good.
Yeah, he was good. So I mean, it's so funny. They first brought him on, and he missed like 3 or 4 kicks that game. But then after he settled in, he
Pressure.
was fine. Yeah, it was just like the first time out there. I mean, he had never.
It's all about it. This is where we talk about the atmosphere. You could sit there and he could kick that ball the same way with no one there and put it through the uprights. How many times?
Yeah.
Put him in front of all those people. There's a different pressure.
Yeah, I think I'm not trying to toe the company line. I don't like these kind of things. I don't like them. But I understand the business, and when you understand that like these are good for business, it's good for business. Like when Ariel tried to say that Stephen A was good for business for MMA, I'm not saying that's not good for business. I don't think it's going to have the impact that he.
It doesn't have any effect on the business.
Yeah, it has. I don't.
No one pays to see Stephen Smith.
I don't. But it doesn't hurt to have him.
I mean,
Even with regards to his mitt hole, like his mitt work, and you guys, everything, all that bullshit aside, it does not hurt to have Stephen A there, but it also doesn't help. It doesn't gain. You don't gain anything by having. You're like, oh,
not
well,
according
fans.
to Stephen A.
The
That's
fans.
preposterous.
Yeah,
that is preposterous. Did you see the numbers, Josh Thompson?
Yeah.
Take a look at the numbers, Josh Thompson.
Yeah,
Josh Thompson. Did you see the numbers? They were elevated.
Yeah, not because
it's because of me.
No,
it is because of me, Josh Thompson.
It was not. It was not.
You're
because
preposterous.
of you. It was because Joe Rogan was on that mic, saving you and the guy that was next to him from. Yeah. Look, I don't even want to get into the Stephen A. thing, but I'm just simply saying, like, it doesn't. When you bring in somebody from another show or for someone who's a YouTube star,
another form of life.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt our business. It may potentially help it, but it's not going to hurt our business in the format of what we're doing. You know, so we'll see, man. I mean, from what I understand, he has a deal with DAZN. I don't know how many fights he has, but I think they're going to work it out. And then obviously we have a deal with DAZN, so I'm assuming that they're probably trying to have it all done together somehow, some way. You know, to make sure that the cost is it benefits both sides. So we'll see, man.
You know that he's got that. He's had that ongoing little. I don't want to say Twitter, Instagram battle with Dylan Dennis.
Dumbest thing I've ever heard. Dylan Dennis would fuck that guy up.
Come on.
Now, if they had to do a boxing match,
sometimes when reality hits you in the face, it's a good thing.
If we made it just a boxing match, then I'd be
Dylan's
like,
in trouble.
I mean,
not in trouble, but
I wouldn't say in trouble, but it would be a different.
Closer.
It'd be closer.
Yeah, it'd be
but
closer.
if it was MMA at all, like,
dude, he's a high school wrestler. What are you talking about?
No way, man. Dylan Dennis would destroy that poor young man. Yeah, I don't think it would get longer than a minute. Not even longer than a minute.
And you know, my whole point is this: you can't take, even though Dylan is a young fighter who doesn't have a ton of experience. Look at verifiable skills as far as a jiu-jitsu practitioner.
Very good.
You know, just incredible skills. And you've got to, if you're going to put Logan in there, you've got to put him against somebody else that has somewhat of the same skill set. You can't just throw him in, against somebody that's got this giant superior skill set that's just going to overtake him.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. We'll see.
Yeah. Let's play matchmaker.
All right.
Let's play matchmaker. Who does he fight first in Bellator?
If my name was Rich Chow and I was good looking, which it's neither. Okay.
You look like a Chow.
Yeah, I look like a Chow dog.
Dog, yeah.
All I need is a black tongue. I wouldn't put anybody that's on the Bellator roster against him. I can't do that, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for business. It doesn't make sense for the possibility of him actually, doing this multiple times. I'm not sure that's what he wants to do. I have no clue. But you've got to find somebody else that has something like him that is popular somewhere, popular in the UK, popular somewhere else. The guy that I would actually look towards, he's got a lot more experience than Logan, and I'm not sure, size-wise, I'm not sure that he matches up, but, Aaron from Geordie Shore. That would be the guy that I would kind of look to. But I'm not sure about the weight factor. I think Logan is bigger, but Aaron would be the guy, that I would look and say, Aaron Chalmers, that would be a guy. Let's put those two together.
You just hit the nail on the head, my man. That was
Thank you very much.
That to me, like that, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh shit. That's a great fight.
Damn, that McCarthy guy's got something up there.
Yeah. That's at 170, right? I mean, what is Logan Paul, 85?
Yeah, he was closer to I think he was 195, 200 pounds. So he can go to 185, and Chalmers comes up to 185.
Yeah.
They meet in the middle.
Yeah.
This is a plan.
That makes for a good fight. Yeah.
Chalmers is good. Chalmers is a gamer.
We could just put him against MVP. Poor
guy. That's a real good idea.
I can't think of any other guy, honestly. I mean, what's it called? Baby Slice. That might be okay.
Baby Slice too small.
Corey Browning too small. So, I can't think of anyone right off the top of my head, to be honest. I mean, you don't want to put him with someone who has like an extensive grappling background to begin with.
Yeah.
Let him mature as a fighter. Like I saw that with Raymond Daniels this last fight. He was able to defend the leg lock position. He was able to pull the head, pull the body closer, land the strikes, and King made the same mistake as some leg lock guys do. Not top leg lock guys, but submission guys. They
can't have both hands on a leg and your head's
your head's
exposed.
free and open to be punched. Ask Frank Mir, Ian Freeman will let him know.
That's a long time.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where My 2 cents is that I think the Aaron Chalmers one would be a great fight. And Chalmers having a little bit of submissions, but doesn't go to it all the time, and it would make for a fucking.
He likes to punch.
The hype fight, baby. The hype fight. Where do we do it, though? Do we do it in the UK or do we do it in the US?
Man, I don't know.
New York, Madison Square.
That's the whole thing.
New York, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, try to close that distance.
Yeah. Or we could do maybe Chicago. Maybe Chicago at the United Center.
Look at you. See, now you're not only matchmaking, you're being the promoter. You're
you know what?
The spot.
I think fuck it. We just go straight to fucking Miami. We do it like in the Super Bowl. No. I mean, look, for me, I feel like it'd be great, man. I would love that. That makes complete sense on when you're talking about those two guys fighting. Now I can see that come to fruition. And Chalmers didn't he fight? Didn't he have a fight or two at 85? His first fight I thought was at 85 because he fights at 70 now, right?
Yeah, he fights at 70.
Yeah, so I think his first fight was at 85, I believe.
He fighting at 70 or
no, he's at 55 now. 55 now.
55 now. That's right.
Jesus. So his first fight was at 70. His first fights were at 70 now. Okay, that's why I was mistaken. That's why
I'm not sure. I don't know if the weight difference will be the problem, but who knows?
Yeah, we'll see. Hey, we'll see what Scott Coker can do and what he can pull off.
Did you happen to hear Rafael Lovato Jr. came out talking about his entire camp getting ready for Gegard Mousasi when he won the title. Came out talking about this entire thing that he was dealing with on the Joe Rogan podcast. Very interesting. And, man, I feel so bad for Rafael. He's just an awesome human being, just a quality guy with incredible, jiu-jitsu stylist. But he's got this disease called cavernova, which is a bunching of veins. And you look at the scans of people that have this disease and you go, oh, man, that's just not good. And he was talking that he's right now he's kind of put into retirement because he's gone through so many different doctors, so many commissions, some saying, yes, that, they allowed, in fact, it was the English commission that Bellator uses took his case and then allowed him to fight that fight against Mousasi, and then came back after the fight and said, hey, we've done a study on your case, and we have this other doctor, and he wants to talk to you. And that doctor said, there's no way you can fight. And they're even saying that, chokes can be a problem for him as far as if he gets choked, it could put pressure. This disease that he has, this cavernova, it's just nasty as far as, the chosen career path of a guy as good as he is, and it's going to take and possibly just end his career. I feel really bad for him right now.
Yeah, so I'm hearing that I knew about this a couple of days, almost a whole week before he went on the Rogan show. And I knew that I knew he was going to vacate the title. I knew, so that's why when you and I were talking the other day, I didn't say anything on air. I was waiting, and you said, oh, yeah, he's still got to fight Lovato. He's our champ. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, no, he's not.
That ain't happening.
I'm like, no, he's not the champ anymore. Like, I knew, and then I knew he was going to go on Rogan's show because I was on Rogan's show the week before, and I heard that Lovato was going to go on there, and he was going to make this announcement. I kind of thought that it was a little premature because there's a lot of doctors that are saying that he can fight. Some are saying he should be fine, saying that he not a big problem. But I also know as a promotion and being a martial artist like Scott Coker is, he doesn't want that weighing on his head the rest of his life. If
no
something
one
happens
does.
to him. And even if doctors say it's okay, but the problem is the California State Athletic Commission is saying that it's not okay. The doctor here in doctor here, Andy had gotten some research from a doctor that he admires and I guess reveres or whatever. It's like a really good doctor.
That's a guy that used to be on the commission, Vern Williams. He's a great guy. I've been to him for stuff, but I'm sorry, that's the wrong doctor. That's Lemons is the guy.
Okay.
And he, this is the whole thing that you got to look at, and this is what's so scary. If Lovato fights and something happens, he gets a bleed because this cluster of veins that's in his brain, and he's got more than one. He's got a very large one, close to the size of a tennis ball, we'll say.
Yeah.
And then he's got other small ones. So they can actually take that cluster, the big one, out because it's close to the edge of his brain, and they say they can get it out. But then again, he's got more, and so they're not sure that they can, they'll even let him fight. But this is where you got to, this is what people don't realize is who holds a stake in this. Okay, because everybody has their little stake in that fight, in that fighter. And when the fighter has his life, and then his family has their stake in it, but also the people of the commission that allow it to happen. So if it was Andy Foster in California, he's the guy that's saying, yes, I'm going to let this happen, or no, I'm not.
Yeah. And
then he's going off of the advice of his ringside physicians. So they're not only reputations, but a lot of, there's just a lot of weight in what they are putting out there, either yes or no, because if they say yes and then something bad happens, who's liable? They are. Because they're going to say, well, you allowed it. You said it was okay. And then it's be the referee inside. You have a guy that dies in a fight because something happens in there that you had no control of, but it affects you.
Yeah.
It affects everybody, and it's such a hard thing to look at because you don't want to take away a guy's livelihood. You don't want to take away his, way of, being who he is. But you're trying to do what's right for him. And this is, the whole thing in this is when I look at it and I listen to him, and he's had so many doctors tell him, no, you cannot fight. And then he's had doctors say, yes, you can. And I say it all the time, doctors don't know. It's called practicing medicine for a reason, and they're not sure because they can't be sure. You never know what's going to be, what's going to happen with this individual compared to this individual. It could be that Lovato could fight for 15 more years and nothing's going to happen. And it could be that he fights for 15 more minutes and something bad happens. And you don't want to be, the safest thing for the doctor to do is say, no, you can't do that. Don't participate in that activity. And I just look at it, and I know he just opened up his a new big school in, where he lives in Oklahoma City, and I hear it's beautiful, and I know he was looking to pay for a lot of that through, he was the champ. He was going to get a lot more money now being the champ and fighting as the champ. And you look and you go, man, I feel so bad for him that, all this time, all this, that he's put into it. But, you got to look and say, man, you achieved something that most people never even get a glimpse of. And you're able to get that championship, and you have that undefeated record, and you walk through so many good fighters. I think he had, in his 10 wins, I think he's got I want to say 6 or 7 submission victories, maybe 1 or 2 TKOs, and then he's got the decision against Chris Honeycutt, and he's got the decision against Mousasi. In that last fight, you listen to what he went through to get to that fight. Very impressive.
What's impressive?
Because that fight was unbelievable.
If you go back and watch that fight, if you guys haven't had a chance to watch it, you got to watch it. Like, you see the championship spirit in him. If going into that 5th round, knowing that the fight's tied. He won the first 2 rounds. He lost the
and
next,
he got his butt kicked
for
in
3
the
and
4th.
If the ref would have stopped it, no one would have blinked an eye. At the end of the 3rd round, I think no one would have blinked an eye.
I would have bet, going into that 5th round, Mousasi's got this.
Yeah.
Because, the momentum has swung, and Lovato was not being able to be effective in anything, and you had to get him down, and man, he went out there and did what he was supposed to do in that 5th round, and he took that title, and you got to be so impressed with the way he did it.
Well, I do know this. I do know that I expanded my gym. And when I expanded my gym, I had a total of like another 50-something kids sign up in jiu-jitsu right as soon as it expanded. It's just one of those things. If you build it, they will come. And I think with his name, the way he carries himself, his family name, everything about him exudes confidence. And you can just, I sent him a message, once I found out, and he reached back out, sent me a voice text, and just like, hey man, I appreciate you reaching out. Appreciate everything, that you said, and I thanks for calling my fights, and and just was very, very grateful. And he's always been that way ever since I've met him, and I'm excited to see him move on, I think, to the next chapter. I think once you come out though and you say something like that on a Joe Rogan podcast, it's out there now. You've pretty much have tied yourself to this, and you've kind of tied the hands of the promotion as well as the commissions on, we can't do anything with you now. And if he would have kept it quiet, maybe if something got proven that he was able to fight and then it was approved, no one would have, probably would have just been able to slide under the radar. But it's done. Like, once something like this comes out and you make it a public service announcement on Joe Rogan's podcast.
A public service announcement?
That's really what it is. That's really what it is. A couple million people.
And now for our next PSA.
Yeah, it's... and so when you put yourself in that position, you've painted the commission as well as the promotion into a corner, and there's nothing they can do about it. Like, they're going to make sure 100%. If one doctor says, nope, not fighting. Even if they say maybe, nope, not fighting. That's the position you just put the promotion and the commissions in. So, but I do know this. I do know, talking with Coker, and there's going to always be, I think, an avenue for potentially him to work with us, whether it's doing kind of what Hoist does with us, traveling around, teaching,
be an ambassador.
Be an ambassador of the sport, not just the sport, but the promotion as well. And we do a lot of stuff with the USO. We do, and especially our Hawaii trip. And, having him there to teach technique, having him there to work with the troops. He's such an amazing fighter and just an amazing person. So being around him, I think he fits right into that mold of what Coker's trying to build, and that's why he had him signed to begin with. So I wish him, whether it's a recovery or whether it's just a healthy life the rest of his life. I mean, I'll see him around. So I'm excited. I'm excited for his next chapter to start, which I think it'll be good. I think, especially with the capacity that I think Bellator will use him in.
Yeah, and again, I look at everything you accomplished. My thing is, Rafael, you're an awesome person. You're an incredible fighter. Your jiu-jitsu is still unbelievable, and the best of whatever you decide to do. And I'm sorry this happened to you, but just be the champion that you've always been and move on from there. Like Josh said, I can't wait to see the next chapter.
Yeah. All right, there was another fight we were talking about. What was the fight we were talking about?
Fight?
Yeah, there was one that you had brought up.
We're gonna talk about fights.
The 185 title being vacated. That was
being vacated. Oh, we were talking about who's gonna fight.
Oh, we're
for
talking about Lima and wanting to fight Gegard, and Gegard wanting to fight Lima. What do you think of that?
You know what I think of it. I think it's a horrible idea. I think it's a horrible idea. Lima for Lima. I mean, here's the thing. I think it's a good idea if Gegard, because Gegard has said on multiple occasions that he can make 170. If he can go down to 170, they fight there. I think it becomes a little bit more of an even match. I even would probably give the nod to Lima.
What's he going to do, cut off his left arm?
He said he walks around 82, 83.
Ah, bull.
That's what he said.
He used to have a hard time making 85.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's why he went to 205. If you recall, where was he in Strikeforce?
I don't know. Oh, 205.
Light heavyweight champion.
Light heavyweight,
Hello.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's no way.
He is getting older. The muscle mass isn't there anymore. I don't know. I'm just being a smart ass right now. Look, I think at 170, if he can make the weight, it definitely, to me, it starts to favor Lima. At 185, Lima's gonna get starched. Gegard is not that guy that you want to fuck around with. He's fought heavyweight, he's fought 205, he's fought everywhere. And we saw what he did to Rory McDonald. And Lima, he's extremely good. He's got big power, got great leg kicks. Gegard eats that shit up. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are. He eats that shit up. And you try to leg kick him, I mean, he's got that Holland-style kickboxing. He's going to check the kicks and counter and potentially just run you over and take you down like he did against Cavallo. His
ground game is phenomenal.
Is fucking nasty good. I mean, it's not a fight you want to be in. It's not. I don't think that's not a fight for any 185-pounder in the world that wants to be in. When he's clicking on all cylinders, Gegard is probably, to me, the best 185-pounder in the world when he's clicking on all cylinders. But we've seen him also just kind of take time off and come in okay, maybe I'll be here today. I mean, like the Shlemenko. When he fought Shlemenko, I was like, like he almost.
The real question is exactly what you're saying. There's a motivation factor with Gegard. Yeah. When he's motivated, man, you got problems. Yep. When he's, I really don't care. And I can tell you, man, there were fights I did with him that I thought he was going to fall asleep in the middle of the fight. Yeah. That's how didn't care. And he's still lighting guys up. Yeah. But he just, when he's motivated, and he was motivated for the Rory fight. He was very motivated. That was a fight that made him excited. I actually had, I went with him and his manager, Nima. We went and had drinks and sat there talking, and he was super excited when they did the media thing for that fight. And he goes, no, he says, a lot of people think he's really good. He goes, I'm going to show everybody just how good he is. Yeah. And he goes, and man, he just went through Rory. And I just look at, it's that what's going to motivate someone. So the real question is, who do you put? If you don't put Lima at 185, which I don't think they should, I think Lima needs to defend at 170 against a couple of different people. Yeah. Yep. But who do you put to fight for that vacant title?
I could see Salter being there.
Okay. But Salter just had a hard fight against his stablemate in Van Steenis.
Yep. So there's a little bit of a story there.
Okay.
A little bit of a story there.
Story. All right.
I would maybe say Salter. I know it's too soon, but maybe a Fabian Edwards.
See, that's the guy I was actually thinking about.
I know. I would say maybe Fabian, but I think until Fabian beats somebody like a Salter, it's going to be hard. Or Van Steenis. He hasn't fought Van Steenis yet either. You know, and Van Steenis just fought Salter. So I think you give Salter the fight against Gegard, and maybe you have Van Steenis and Edwards fight each other, you know, somewhere in there. I mean, Van Steenis already beat Shipman. And Fabian Edwards just beat him. Very controversial, but just beat him as well. So I think that makes sense to have those two fights happen. And, you know, I mean, we're going to be back in Dublin here shortly, but then we have, you know, I know we have a stacked year with European shows, so we could have it in one of those shows.
Dude, what is it with you? You bring some bad luck to the European going to Dublin, because every time that they're going to do a show in Dublin that you're doing, the fights fall out, all of them. What the hell?
But actually, I'm still actually really entertained with the Bungard fight.
Bungard
and Primus.
That's a good fight.
Bungard's good. I mean, like
He
he doesn't get the credit he deserves.
He's tough.
You know, he's hilarious in post fight interviews too. He just yells into the microphone. I can't understand a fucking word he says, and then he just runs out of the cage. I think he's got to keep that going because it makes my job a lot easier.
There you go. And it's like, go ahead and do it.
I go to ask a question, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, fuck, and then he runs off of it, and I'm like, okay, cool.
And that's
it. That's the man. There you go. So I think this is going to make for a good fight. I was definitely into the Peter Queally and Primus fight. I wanted to see that fight as well. But I think this still makes for a very good fight. It should be good.
What about Eleanor and Gallagher?
You know, I never thought when I had seen Eleanor fight the first time. Who did he fight? Nathan Grayson, I believe. It was in Newcastle, I think. Yeah, when he fought Nathan Grayson, he beat him quickly. I was like, wow.
Well, you were all hot. You were big on Grayson.
I was big on Grayson.
Super athletic, man. I agree with you. He's dynamic.
Yeah.
But I told you, Cal Eleanor is a fucking beast. He just keeps coming.
He is. And before that, I had underestimated Cal Eleanor, but I also looked at Nathan Grayson that week of the fight, and I was like, this is not going to work out for you, because he was complaining about the fact that he wasn't on the main card. Man, I'm a fucking main event fighter. I should be on the main card. He was complaining. And when that happened,
win fights, you'll be a main event fighter.
And when that happened, I'm like, dude, he every time someone in the media scrum came up to him, he's like, this is bullshit. I'm a main event fighter. I should be on the main card. And when he said that, I'm like, your mind's not even on the fucking fight. You're just thinking about what about me? I'm like, it doesn't go that way, man. Win fights, and the rest of it will take care of itself. You know, and then I just knew going into it. I was like, you're not even thinking about your opponent and what's gonna happen. And he went out there and he got him quick. You know, I want to say it was like 2 minutes or a minute 30 or something like that. You know, Cal Eleanor did, but also Cal Eleanor and James Gallagher. Eleanor is huge compared to Gallagher. Gallagher is a smaller guy, man. He's a little bit shorter, they're probably equally about the same skinny, but like Eleanor's tall, long, and lanky. I mean, he's gonna have a hard time getting in. His stand-up is not that great, but on the ground, the jiu-jitsu portion of it all is gonna be good.
I think their skill sets match up very well.
Yeah, yes they do. But size, to me, I feel like it's going to end up leading to Cal Eleanor being a little bit longer. It's going to make we're going to see how good James Gallagher is in this fight.
Yeah, it's a good fight for him.
We're going to see how good he is in this fight. And, you know, and Cal coming off that controversy over the brain scans and everything like that. It's good for him to finally have that all settled behind him. And doctors saying he's ready to go. He's healthy, and it's, you know, and been approved by several doctors. And so he's good, you know? So I'm excited for this fight to finally happen. I'm excited for it. But
is it Bandejas on that card too?
Yes, he is. God, who is he fighting? He's got a good fight too. Crap, man.
You're supposed to know this.
I know I am. I just got the bout sheet on Friday. Don't give me that look. You know exactly what I'm thinking.
I know exactly what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Which show is it?
Ricky Bandejas. He's fighting. God, who is he fighting? Where is this? Sorry, guys. You guys got to bear with me here.
Well, this won't be online. Are you looking at something private?
Yeah, I'm looking at my email.
Oh,
because I have the bout sheet. I had to pull it up, though. Okay, let me see. Oh, Miamba. Franz Miamba.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's going to be a fucking great fight.
He's fighting out of SBG still,
yes,
right?
Yeah, he's at SBG. Yep. That, to me, is going to be the fight. Because Miamba's one of those guys, like,
He's
kind
good.
of reminds me a little bit of Gegard, like he's asleep out there as he's fucking lighting you up. And like his record like doesn't really reflect it. I want to say he's 9-4 or 8-4, 9-4, but man, he's good. He's good. He's got great stand up, good takedown defense. His submissions they're not the best, but they're good. He's got he's got good little guillotines, good at taking the back. I mean, he's crafty on the ground in a different way, but he just seems like he's like falling asleep out there, like everything you do, and he doesn't. He's fast and explosive. He counters really well. He's long and lanky, but he's just quiet and he's humble. And I did the fighter interviews. And I'm like, man, it's a pleasure to be around you. I really enjoy like listening to you break down the fights. And I think Ricky's got a tough fight on his hands, extremely tough fight on his hands. Now to me, Miyaba is like he's gonna have a hard time. He's not going to mimic like someone like Juan Archuleta. He's going to stand right in front of you and try to make you exchange. And Ricky's got to make sure that the speed doesn't play a factor because that's how he's been able to catch people. So he's going to have to use that long length and range. His like side kick he did to James Gallagher's face. Like things like that. You got to use that side kick a little bit, maybe mix in the wrestling a little bit, but not try to force the takedown. Make sure you don't gas yourself out. But to me, that's the sleeper fight on that whole card. That's the sleeper fight. I think that's going to be a great, and I love watching Ricky Mendehouse fight, man. I love watching that kid fight. He's so quiet, keeps to himself, family kid, just, blessed with all girls. It's so funny.
All girls.
All girls. I just cracks me up, We've got so many people on our production team. They've got all girls. I'm like, it's like just packed with all girls. It's funny. But I'm excited for him. I'm excited for him for this fight. And then, Miyaba, this is a good opportunity for him to say like, hey, I'm ready for that next level. I'm ready for it. So that to me is the fight that sticks out the most on the undercard.
That's a good fight.
On that card as well.
That's a good one.
All right. Well, hey, let's wrap this up with a little bit of Super Bowl talk.
All right. I'm going to give you who I want.
Who you want and who's going to win, though. That's the thing. It might be the same. Might be the same for you.
But there's background into who I want.
You're a fucking Niners fan. Damn it.
Dude, I've never been in a... All right. So, when I was working, I moved a lot, it seemed like, but my son was playing football, and I wanted him to play for a good team, so I actually moved to where there was a place where I thought football was done right. It was coached right, and my son ended up going to a place called Hart High. And Hart High had a dynasty going for a while as far as football in Southern California. They had won like 14 CIF Southern Section, ended up, like Mark Sanchez, when he was playing at Mission Viejo, he was playing against Hart High and in Anaheim, at Anaheim Stadium or at the Home Depot, and my son was part of those games. But earlier, when my son was a freshman, his freshman quarterback was a kid named Robbie Moore because his older brother, Matt Moore, was the quarterback for the varsity team.
Yeah.
And Matt Moore plays at Hart High, only plays 1 year at quarterback, plays safety also, gets a scholarship to UCLA, goes to UCLA under Bob Toledo, starts as a freshman and plays the year, and then a new coach comes in and he kind of pushes him to the side, and Matt leaves and goes to Oregon State, has a good career, ends up coming to the NFL, has had a very long career in the NFL, especially with Miami, and then he decides, okay, I'm done. And he leaves and he goes back to Hart High to help the coach that's still there, Mike Harrington, and he's going to coach quarterbacks and offense with Mike Harrington. And he gets a call from Andy Reid when Pat Mahomes goes down. And he ends up going back to the NFL, goes to Kansas City, and ends up starts the game there too when the second string quarterback goes down. And he has a chance, after a very long career in the NFL, of getting a Super Bowl ring.
Yes.
So I want the Kansas City Chiefs to win. Now, I do not want the Kansas City Chiefs to win because you want them.
No, I'm a real fan. I want them to win because I've liked them since I was a kid.
I really want Matt Moore to have a Super Bowl ring. I want Terrell Suggs to get a Super Bowl ring as far as with the Chiefs. And I think Andy Reid deserves it. So I'm rooting for the Chiefs, but, man, they got their hands full.
They have their hands full.
With that defense of San Francisco.
Yeah.
Man, that's a good defense, and defense usually wins Super Bowls.
Championships.
It's not the offense, it's the defense.
Yeah, that scares
so
me.
See.
I've said this all week. I will not be convinced that we can win until we're 24 points down in the first quarter.
Oh, God.
I think that
Don't do that.
I think that if we're only up by 7 or if we're down by 7, we don't have a chance. I think we're going to lose. But if we're down by 24 in the first quarter and I just know it's in the bag. We'll definitely come back and we'll smash them. Look, that's the one thing that we can't afford to happen is we can't afford to go down by more than 10, I think, in the first quarter. We are the number 1 team in second quarters. We've scored the most points, I think, throughout the whole NFL in the second quarter. Our second quarter is phenomenal. We're a slow starter. It's been proven like this whole year, and I think even last year too as well. I remember watching games last year. We'd fall down, and then Mahomes just kind of slowly brings us back and keeps the confidence going. Look, I've talked with Jay. I've talked to a bunch of other people that work in the NFL and work for, and simply stated is that can the Niners line get to Mahomes before Tyreek Hill and those guys stretch the field so much?
Get free.
Get free because the secondary of the Niners, they may not be old, but they're not as fast as our guys, Hardman, Watkins, and Hill. So if we can get them, we can stretch the field and Mahomes can stay on his feet long enough, we can torch him. And if we can't, we need those guys to stretch the field enough for Kelsey to come in underneath or right behind, underneath the secondary as well as behind the linebackers and able to dump it off to him as well. And we've got 2 good running back, Williams and Thompson. If we can use both those guys, Williams is more of our runner. Thompson, more of our little like check down guy. He's extremely fast as well. And if you take those 3 guys, Watkins, Hill, and Hardman, you've got a 4x100 relay team for the Olympics. I mean, that's how damn fast they are.
Tyreek Hill is fast.
Yeah. Hardman ran a 4.2 also. So he ran a 4.2. Hill ran I don't even know what he said. They said 4.2, but he swears he can run a 4.1. And that's just nasty. That's nasty fast.
Bo Jackson,
Look,
baby.
Exactly. These guys, I mean, so I'm a Chiefs fan. I'm rooting for them. And I've always been a local. I live in the Bay Area, so I've always supported the Niners when they're not playing the Chiefs. I generally try to root for them. I've always liked Garoppolo as well when he played for the Patriots, and when he came over, I was like, this is good. I've always kind of followed the Patriots as well. You got a lot of respect for how Bill Belichick runs his crew. And I think that Mahomes, coming from the history of his father being a professional Major League Baseball player for 11 or 13 years or something like that. I think it's 11 years. He's been around. He was a ball boy when he was like 7, 8 years old. Like, he's been around pro athletes. None of this stuff is new to him. Like, being out there on the field, think about this, being out there on the baseball field with thousands of people and you're a kid running to get the ball, players saying high five to you, giving you jerseys, signing jerseys. Like, he's used to it. None of this stuff to him is new. He's used to, actors and actresses saying hi to him because he was a ball boy. His dad played in the Major League. So this to him is nothing new. Now, this moment in the Super Bowl is definitely something new.
You think?
This is new. But I'm saying being in the big stage, being under the bright lights, this is not new. This is a different level of that. But I feel like he seemed like he rises to this. That 24-point comeback in the second quarter against the Titans. That to me, Texans. I mean Texans. Then when he came back from 10 also, 10 down against the Titans.
Yep.
I mean, and they're known for their defensive.
Broke my heart.
Let's be real. Their defense and their offensive line is not just as good as the Niners, but they're up there. But they're up there. They're good, and they had a hard time getting to Mahomes as well. So we'll see, man. But then what concerns me the most is we have a hard time stopping the run. And Mostert is not the same guy as Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry gives you the chance to get to him because, sure, he's fast, but he's also a big body. He's like 240, something like that. Mostert's a slasher. They also have Breida, who's also a slasher, extremely fast. They hit the gaps really fast. There's a lot of things that concern me, but if we don't stop the run, we're going to lose this game. There's that.
What's the score?
And if we
What's
can't.
the score? Predict. Come on.
I'm going to say 27-24 us.
Damn.
27-24 us. We're favored by 1 on the betting lines. I think 1.5 right now. It may have changed since like a couple days ago, but yeah, I think we're favored by 1.5 is what we were a couple days ago. So it's going to be a close game. It really is going to come down to if they can if they can stop our little dump offs, Mahomes he has to get rid of the ball real fast, and you got to be careful.
31-27.
31-27.
31-27.
Chiefs. I say 20.
I think it's gonna be a close game too.
Yeah, it's gonna be a close game. 27-20. I think this may end up being either a snooze fest. I just think we score too fast.
I don't think so.
Or it's gonna be a very high scoring game.
It's gonna be a fun game.
Yeah. Damn it! I hope my team wins. All right, guys. Hey, thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoy the show. Big John McCarthy MMA, his IG and his Twitter.
Thank you.
The Real Punk, IG and Twitter for myself as well. Follow Weighing In Show on Instagram. Dave has been procrastinating and starting up the Twitter, so one of these days he'll be able to do his job. And
there you go.
we'll be able to show him the love that he deserves when he starts pulling his weight around here. So, look, he doesn't have anything to say because we wouldn't be able to understand him.
Podcast Dave.
Podcast. I love Podcast Dave.
Doesn't get any better than Podcast Dave.
I wish you guys could see the picture of him. He wears 2 headsets. It looks ridiculous. He has one to hear John, one to hear me.
That's so you can hear me.
I don't even know what it is. All right, guys. Hey.
I wish I didn't have to wear Josh's.
Yeah, you guys can understand. We're gonna try and drop another one tomorrow. We'll see how hungover I am after tonight. So get to enjoy the game. All right, guys. Hey, thank you guys. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. YouTube, SoundCloud, Google Play, iTunes, all those things. Someone had hit me up. Did you get that notice about this? What's it called?
Yeah,
Rokus
or something like that.
Did you were on? Rockfin. So if you guys know anything about this, some guys have kind of reached out to us and told us it's a good platform to be on. Let us know in the comment section if you guys are interested in having us on Rockfin as well. And hit us up. All right, hey, I appreciate you guys. Hit the subscribe button, thumbs up button as well. That shares our videos to everyone. Thank you guys. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy the Super Bowl.